Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar, which is going to cover account management in pipeline. Now, I've spoken to most of you at some point, but in case there is anybody that I haven't spoken to while you've been pipelining customers, my name is Liz Young. I'm the VP of Services, essentially, for Pipeliner. And I'm going to try and keep this quite short today. As those who know me will attest, this can be difficult because I can tell you about Pipeliner forever and all of the great features that are in it. So I'm going to try very hard to keep it to about 20 minutes. And I'm focusing on some of the newer areas of account management, those newer features that we've brought in over recent months and weeks for just focusing very much on how is it going with a particular account record. And of course, lots of things are fed into these fantastic improvements that we've been able to make. We made some significant enhancements earlier in the year around products, the product section that you add into opportunities. And having done that, now we've been able to give you a really exceptional view of the products that you're selling at this, account level. Yeah, so I'm going to start there. Please feel free to post all your questions. I'm going to try and leave time to address all of those at the end. So put those on, I'll get round to them before we finish for today. But let me dive straight on in. So I've got just a lovely little demo system here with some nice data in this scenario, kind of like a marketing company. Yeah, those are the services that we sell, marketing activities, blog posts, things like that. Okay, just to give you a little bit of the scenario. And we've got a bit of a vertical going on with sort of retail organizations here, as well as just some of the trial data that lots of you will be familiar with. So if we're looking overall at our accounts, we see we have lots of different views available to help us get a feel for how we're doing. Okay, was it the individual account level? There are lots of things that you can do now to really, really leverage the power of the information that you're keeping in Pipeline. Nowadays, I know that some of you looking at the participant list are customers of ours for a very long time. Unless you're totally on top of all of the new information, you might not be consciously aware that, for example, you can now configure the content of this panel here. Yeah, so as admins, you can go in and you can decide which of the fields that you've got on account records are important enough to be placed here. Yeah, when you're using this compact view, or even when you're hovering over a record. Yeah, what should you see in that quick view? That's now configurable in the admin module. In the same way that what you see here, yeah, the actual blocks that you see here are now configurable, but more than that, you can actually embed your own charts into this content. So if you do have a focus on, using Pipeliner for account management, and frankly, why wouldn't you? Because it's just fantastic. Then just remember that these little things, not maybe the big ticket items that we might look at, the headlines that we're looking at today, but the ability just to change the way that it looks here in the compact view, the content here, to set up your own charts to give visibility, will give your account managers just that extra power to the view without even having to jump into the account and have a look at it. But of course, that's what we're going to be doing in some detail today. So there's the individual view of each record and how you can very easily optimize that in the admin module. Yeah. And of course, if that's the type of thing you'd like to see in another webinar, just let me know. Yeah, just send us your feedback. We're very happy to put on these webinars on a regular basis. Be really interested to hear from you guys about what you would find useful to to hear. So please feel free to just email me your feedback. If you don't already have my email address, it's liz.woods@pipelinersales.com. Yeah, it's to do with old logins. Don't worry about that. My name is Liz Young, as you all know. Okay, so we can customize and configure the content here on our compact view so that we're seeing exactly what we need to see from an account management perspective. And we've also got a whole new view here that was added fairly recently, which is the matrix view. And we're going to have a look at that first. Okay, so essentially it's plots. So it's a graphical type view where you're looking at various different parameters about the account that kind of show you where everybody's sitting. So we've got one value here and account created date. And of course we can change those. So I'm just going to click on the gears to open up my Power Panel. And here in the View tab, when you're on the matrix view, these are all the parameters that you can get. Yeah? So we're looking at account created date here, but you can choose from a bunch of different options. Yeah? You could maybe be looking by account class. Now, if you're not using account class, some of these new enhancements give you a really good reason to maybe start. And account class is one of the system fields in Pipeline, if you remember, and it comes as 0 for unclassified. And then the values that are fixed that you can select from are A, B, C, and D. And essentially they just reflect value to you, however you define that value. It doesn't necessarily have to be on money, though obviously this view is. So what we're looking at here are our A-class customers. Yeah, and unsurprisingly, they're going to tend to be the ones with the most one value, but it's not a given. As I said, you know, value is a subjective thing for each business, but it's a very useful way of segmenting your customers by some criteria that's interesting to you. You can even visualize it. Yeah, down here where we've got the display bubble, I can switch on account class, yeah, just so that you can see. So you've got some options here to just make it more useful for you. I'm the owner pretty much of all of this data. Yeah, so you can see account name or you can see account class. You can also select and click through to all of the underlying data from here. Yes, so if I'm particularly interested, let's say in these two companies, that's just drag and drop to select. And now you'll see up in the top right, I've got 2 records selected versus my total of 13. And if I'm just interested in those 2 for any reason at all, I can click and select in those 2. Now this is just a list view. And of course, you can customize your list views to your heart's content. So, you know, in this type of view, you can just select in all of the most interesting information for you, for example. So we've put, you know, last contact date in. But the really cool thing about this is that this is actionable data. So I can select these records, and once I've selected them, I can do things. Yeah, so I can export them. But the coolness really comes to see if you've got Office 365 email integration enabled or Gmail email integration enabled, so you can send directly out of Pipeliner. Then, you know, you can send a mass email to the primary email address for these companies right from here. Or if you're one of our many customers who are finding it just impossible to live without Automatize, ourselves included, because we're one of our own customers, of course, then you can run a process on these accounts, you know, an account management process perhaps that schedules meetings, internal follow-ups, sends notifications, all sorts of things. So it's not just that the data here is completely accessible with a single click. It's not just about viewing it, it's about working with it and acting on it. So let's have another look here. Yeah, so we've got maybe account class at the top, all sorts of things that you can do. Yeah, so numbers of open opportunities, various different selections that you can make here. Yeah, so that you're looking at exactly what is most useful to you. So, we're kind of getting into an industry type report here. So we've got our account class, we've got our industries. Just notice that you can swap. Yeah, if you prefer it the other way around, then that's cool. So these are all our A-class customers, and we're having a look to see, are there any trends in the industry that those customers are in? Just an invaluable and different perspective on the accounts that you have in the system. And of course, like everything else, you can save these views and profiles so that maybe you're looking at all customers, as we are here. We've got quite a small data set, but for each individual account manager, of course, they're going to be getting this sort of visibility of just the set of accounts that they are most responsible for. And I said, as long as you've got those email templates set up, so you've got the follow-ups, you've got the automatizer processes in place, then just from this view and just selecting the right records, you can act on that data. And that's really what we're trying to bring you in Pipeline, sort of more views of the data. You've always been familiar with the idea that Pipeline is an incredibly visual system. Well, this is just building more and more on that, being able to just see it, click straight through to the data. If you're going to be exporting it, for example, customize that list view right from there, select the records that you want, and use that actionable intelligence, that actionable data to do your follow-ups, to run your processes, to send out those emails. So matrix view, one of those new views, said you might never even have looked at it, but there's all sorts of useful information to pick there. Yeah, just a quick aside, can't help doing it while I'm doing it. Things like one value. Yeah, we've got some lovely system fields coming into Pipeline, and we added a new one in just the last release about sales cycle. So this one value is a system field that adds up the total of all won opportunities for an account. Now, of course, with the roll-up fields that again are fairly new, it's not just one value that you can do. You can put roll-up fields on accounts and total up won opportunities for a time period, for example, not just everything, or even lost opportunities. All of these things are available for you, and a lot of them have this sort of account management focus. So I can save this as a custom profile, build up a set of different views here in my account matrix. Don't really need all of that coming in. And there we go. Yeah, it's going to be in my list so that every time I'm looking at it, because it's something that I'm interested in, I can just get straight back to it. Okay, so we've talked about the compact view and being able to configure the content here. But let's actually dive into a record and have a look at some of these account management features in a little bit more detail. So if I open it up, you'll have seen a couple of new tabs recently, not least our new projects tab. Now, I'm absolutely certain I'll be doing a webinar on projects, probably after the next release at the end of this month, where we're going to be adding new and fabulous features. But a little while ago, you'll have seen this products tab come up. And that's very much, again, about account management and looking at this account. So let's have a look at the products tab. Okay. Guess the first thing to cover is, where are these products? Why is there no add new button here? Okay, well, of course, it's because products actually live within opportunities in Pipeline. So you're going to be adding them, as your sales team are working their way through the sales process and working on their opportunities. So if I just open this one up, just as a quick reminder, they're going to be adding in all of their products to the deal that they're working on. So what this allows you to do is now pull all of that information into an aggregate view at the account level. So I'm here in the white space view. It's not the only one. We'll have another quick look at list view, for example. So here in the list view, I can see by products or categories of products. So remember, categories are families, groupings of product. I've only got products in this system rather than lots of categories. So I'm going to be sticking on the products tab. Yes, so this is very much for this account, you know, what have I got in terms of open and previously won and lost values, and also quantities. Yeah, nice view. Trends. So that's based on closing dates of opportunities. And obviously we're looking at the one amount here. So this is, you know, what we actually sold and plots in time, you can see. Yeah, so it's not dissimilar to the target graph on the navigator tab here. Yeah, and it sort of shows you how revenue has built up over time. Okay, so again, nice view. If a product is not included here that you have sold, you just click it in. You get a line for each one so you can see where that revenue came in. And again, you can choose, you know, what you're interested in comparing. It's completely down to you, the choices that we make. And again, here in the trend, you've got the products and categories view sticking on the products, as I mentioned before. Okay, we can change. Yeah, you can look at this by lots of different variants. Yeah, so we're pretty much in this whole area really thinking about, you know, amounts and quantities of products that are linked to opportunities, whether those opportunities are, you know, won, open or lost. Yeah, so that's similar throughout all of the views. Just because we're short on time though, really want to show you the white space. So in the white space view, again on the products tab, I'm seeing here for my company Blue Ink, the one that I'm on, you know, what's the story with what we've sold to this particular company? And it's all color coded with the usual colors. So just the same that you would see in the pipeline. Yeah? So blue is open and green is already won. And if we had anything in red here, that would show us that the opportunity that that product was associated with was a lost opportunity. So you can see for this particular company, we've already sold them some Facebook paid marketing and some influencer marketing. We've got a combination there in terms of LinkedIn. We've got a big blog writing opportunity out there. So cool, very cool. But it gets even better, because what you can do here is you can say, well, that's okay for, you know, for Blue Ink, but what's the story with like-minded companies that we've also got in the pipeline? You know, how is this account comparing to other companies that we know of? And you can add those companies into your comparison either manually. Yeah, so you can choose an account here, and let's go for purple and red and maybe outdoor sports, for example. You know, add them in. Now you start to get a view of how Blue Ink looks in comparison to all of these other companies that are relevant. I'm not going to use the word similar because I'm going to show you that in just a second. Obviously they're relevant because you just selected them. Yeah, so it's your view of what's going on, what the business situation looks like. And you can see very easily, you know, where there might be gaps. Yeah, so, you know, if this similar company is buying Facebook paid marketing, does that mean that, you know, this is something that we can approach these other customers about? If it is, then we make it really cool and easy for you to add a new opportunity. Yes, I'm going to do it here on New Ink. So if you click, so if you decide that this view is pointing you in a certain direction, then you can create new things straight from here. So maybe it's just a follow-up call, yeah, in which case it would be a task, a meeting perhaps, even a new opportunity then, you know, that really genuinely, based on the information that you've got here at your fingertips, you really should be trying to sell this to Reading. And if you create a new opportunity, just select the pipeline, and it knows it's for Reading. It knows exactly what product this opportunity is going to be for. And all you have to do then is just fill in the name, the closing date, and click on save, and away you go. You can even, so if you take those out, It's just refreshing. And even use this similar accounts option. So let's take out outdoor sports as well. The screen doesn't get too busy. So here in similar accounts, you can switch it on and you can say, look across the whole of Pipeliner and show me those companies that are similar, maybe based on account class. So our A-class customers, for example, are, if this is an A-class customer, they're all buying this stuff. So surely we must be able to approach Blue Ink or any of the others about it. Maybe based on more than one criteria. Yeah, so if these two are the same class and the same industry, and we've already won 120 grand in terms of LinkedIn for Reading, well, maybe we can go back to Blue Ink on that. Hopefully you're starting to see just the power of this visual element and just how easy it is to get a view that, if you imagine trying to set to and write this into a report, you could do it. Of course you could. Reporting is brilliant in Pipeliner. But this is just so much easier, more present and at your fingertips when you are Blue Ink's account manager and you're thinking about what you're going to be able to achieve, what you've already sold, the future, where there are gaps there that you can use for additional revenue. Now, of course, when we start to think about projects, we've even added to that entire concept by bringing in, account plans. So this really is a focus for us. We've had the sales side just so brilliantly nailed. And now we're bringing all of that incredible information that you've got in terms of opportunities and managing it through into this account management perspective. Okay, I promised that I would only go on for about 20 minutes. I could go on for ages, of course I could. We could look at, power of using the org chart and the relation graph and how that feeds into account management. I could go into account plans on projects, but for today, I'm going to make myself stop and just leave it at this, and we will carry on, said, in a future webinar, and do let me know what you would like to cover. Any questions at all from anybody before we finish for today? Just, if you put them in the questions or in the chat, be happy to answer those. So just trying to keep these short, just give you a flavour. If you want to go into more detail, let me know. So your feedback is always useful. And then we'll plan out a series of these. As I said, don't want to use too much of your time though. No, all good? Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining today. Hope you join for the next one. So just a reminder, that email address to, oh, we've got a couple of chats. Oh, you're welcome. So just to add again, so email address to send your feedback, liz.woods@pipelinersales.com if you don't already have it. Looking at the attendee list, most of you will already have that. So please do let me know if this is about the right length, if it's in-depth enough for you. I mean, obviously there's that balance between length and depth of information, but we can go into smaller topics in more detail if you'd want to. Let us know if you'd be interested in any particular topics for follow-ups. If any of you have looked at the new projects feature, I would absolutely love to hear from you on what you feel about that new feature. Yeah, what you've found so far, you think it's going to work for you, any feedback that you'd like to see product enhancements on that new projects area, that would also be extremely useful. So I will be sending out oh, brilliant. Yeah, so Vanessa, absolutely, we'll definitely do projects. So we'll be sending out a recording of this session to everybody that registered an interest. Said happy to keep doing these on a regular basis, so please do send me your feedback. Really want to hear from you about what we can do to help you, and I'll wish you all a great day. Bye for now.